We're always told that stress is the enemy, right? That we should avoid it at all costs. But what if that's just plain wrong? What if the real key to becoming stronger isn't dodging every hard thing, but actually learning how to move through it? Well, today we're going to challenge that idea.
I mean, really think about it for a second. We're all chasing comfort, trying to smooth out every bump in the road. But is a life with zero challenges, is that really the goal? In this explainer, we are going to dig into why that might not be the case at all. So this really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's like we're at a fork in the road. On one side, you have the path of avoiding stress. Yeah, it feels safer, but over time, it can actually make you more fragile, more afraid of anything you can't predict. But then there's the other path, learning to navigate stress. And that's where you build real, solid confidence and resilience. And that brings us to something we can call the stress paradox. It's this kind of wild, counterintuitive idea that the very things that challenge us, the experiences that push us, are the exact same things that can make us stronger, not weaker. Okay, so how on earth does that even work? Well, there's a really cool scientific concept behind it, and it's called stress inoculation. And I just love this analogy. It's like a vaccine, but for your mind. Now, the key word here is manageable. We are not talking about overwhelming trauma. It's about facing stressors you can actually handle. Think about it. A vaccine gives your body a tiny, weakened version of a virus, so it learns how to build defenses, right? Well, stress inoculation does the same thing for your brain. It exposes you to these controlled challenges, and that teaches your whole system how to handle pressure without freaking out. So, let's break down how this actually works. It's really a simple but super powerful three-step cycle. First, you get exposed to a manageable challenge. Step 2, and this is crucial, you don't just sit there and take it. You actively work on coping strategies. You figure out how to get through it. And then, step 3, you succeed. And that success gives you a shot of confidence, making you way less afraid of the next challenge that comes along. And what's the end game here? What's the ultimate result of this whole process? Well, it can be something truly profound. It leads to what researchers call post-traumatic growth. It's this amazing and honestly really hopeful outcome that can happen when we successfully grapple with life's really tough stuff. And here's the most important part to understand. The growth doesn't come from the bad event itself, not at all. It comes from the struggle with it. It's in the wrestling match, the problem solving, the moment you have to stop and rethink what's actually important. That's where we find new strength, new ways of looking at the world, and even a deeper appreciation for life itself. All right, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually do this stuff in our real lives? Well, that's what we're going to get into now. We're going to walk through 6 habits for building resilience. Now, I'm calling them boring but effective because they aren't flashy, but man, they are the absolute bedrock of building real, lasting inner strength. All right, habit number 1. And this one is probably the most fundamental of all. It's all about learning to reframe your perspective. Now, this isn't about toxic positivity or pretending a problem isn't real. It's about consciously changing the story you tell yourself about that problem. It's about seeing it as a challenge to be overcome instead of just a threat. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. The problem is not the problem is your attitude about the problem. I mean, think about it. 2 people can face the exact same setback. For one person, it's the end of the world. For the other, it's a lesson. That shift in attitude, that's everything. That is where all your power is. Okay, moving on to number 2. This one flows right from that mental shift, but it's all about action, and it is embrace discomfort. Yeah, you heard me. This is basically stress inoculation in practice. It means intentionally doing hard things, like volunteering for that tough project at work, having that conversation you've been avoiding, or trying something new where you know you might actually fail. It's all about stepping outside that cozy little comfort zone. Because here's the honest truth, summed up perfectly here. Growth and comfort do not coexist. You just can't have both at once. You can choose comfort or you can choose growth. Resilience isn't some magic trait you're born with. Nope, it's a muscle. And the only way you build it is by, metaphorically, lifting heavy weights. Now, doing all these hard things is a whole lot easier when you're not trying to do it all by yourself. Which brings us right to habit number 3. Build your support system. We have this cultural myth of the tough lone wolf who handles everything on their own. But the science is crystal clear on this. That's just not how it works. Resilience is a team sport. True strength is found in our connections with other people. And this quote says it all. Resilience is not a solo sport. Your people, your friends, your family, your mentors, they are your lifeline when things get tough. And let me just say, reaching out for help is not, I repeat, not a sign of weakness. It's one of the smartest, most effective strategies you can possibly have for getting through stress.
Okay, let's talk about habit number 4. We've talked about external support. Now let's turn inward. This one is all about practicing mindful awareness. So, what does that even mean? It's basically the skill of noticing your thoughts and feelings, especially the anxious ones, without immediately getting swept away by them. It's about creating a little bit of space between you and your reaction. I love this quote: "You can't control the storm, but you can learn to calm yourself within it." And that's exactly it. Look, storms are gonna happen. Stressful things are a part of life. But mindfulness gives you that tiny little pause, that gap between the stressful thing happening and how you react to it. And in that tiny gap, that's where you find the power to choose how you're gonna respond. But let's be real, that internal calm is pretty much impossible to find if you're ignoring our 5th habit. And it's the one so many of us skip. And that is prioritize your physical well-being. Yep, we're talking about the boring stuff again, but it is the absolute foundation. Getting enough sleep, moving your body, and eating food that actually fuels you. Because, as this says, a resilient mind needs a rested body. Your brain and your body are one system. They're not separate things. When you're exhausted and just running on caffeine and stress, your ability to handle your emotions just tanks. Seriously, taking care of your body isn't some luxury you do when you have extra time. It's a core strategy for being mentally strong. And that brings us to our 6th and final habit. And honestly, this might be the most powerful one of all, because it ties everything else together. It's about finding meaning in the struggle. This goes right back to that idea of post-traumatic growth we talked about. It's that incredible human ability to look at something hard and ask, okay, what can I learn from this? How can this make me better? What's the purpose here? This is why this quote is so powerful. The most resilient people are those who find a why powerful enough to endure any how. When you have that why, that sense of purpose, it's like an anchor in a storm. It doesn't stop the storm, but it holds you steady. It gives the struggle a point, which makes it not just bearable, but maybe even meaningful. So when you start practicing these 6 habits, you get something that goes way beyond just coping. When you put it all together, what you develop is this really rare, powerful kind of calm. And it's not the flimsy calm of someone who's had an easy life. No, it's the deep, steady calm of a ship's captain who has been through countless storms and knows deep down that they can handle whatever the sea throws at them. So let's recap your toolkit. 1. Reframe your perspective. 2. Embrace discomfort. 3. Build your support system. 4. Practice mindful awareness. 5. Prioritize your physical well-being. And 6. Find meaning in the struggle. These right here, these are the tools you use to forge real resilience. And that's really the bottom line here. True emotional resilience, the kind that lasts, isn't about having a life free of problems. It's about developing the skills and the mindset to face those problems head on and come out stronger. It's a kind of power that you can only get from experience. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What's one challenge in your life right now that you could start to reframe today? What's one thing you could stop seeing as just a threat and start seeing as an opportunity, as a training ground to build your own strength? Because that's where this whole journey begins, with that one simple shift.